Boxing truth here. All right, let me talk about this chump, David Haye. This guy just made a complete fool of himself this past weekend. Just got trashed by a fat cruiserweight in Tony Bellew on Sky Sports Box Office at the O2 Arena this past weekend in a humiliating, embarrassing defeat received by David Haye. Devastating. Suffered a severe injury, which influenced the outcome of the bout, at least the stoppage that Tony Bellew recorded. It's a weird fight. It was stunning. It was dramatic. It was compelling. It was the theater of the unexpected that boxing can give you from time to time. It was hilarious watching David Haye get trashed by a cruiserweight, but at the same time upsetting because I didn't place any wager on Tony Bellew. $50 would have got you a few bills. Could have got yourself a little payday if you placed a wager on Tony Bellew. Didn't take the risk. Oh well. There'll be other upsets. That's not the last one that's going to happen. But it's a weird fight. Do you give credit for Bellew for beating a one-legged man and taking five rounds to stop him? Do you give credit to David Haye for showing heart, being in a position that he was not supposed to be in, getting dominated in the latter part of the fight because of the injury, the torn Achilles, which hampered his ability, his mobility, his movement. He couldn't put much pressure on his leg. But even prior to the stoppage, I was not impressed with what David Haye was showing in the 5 rounds where he was healthy prior to him tearing up his Achilles. He was sloppy as hell. He couldn't land any accurate punches. He was missing wildly. He was just swinging for the fences. He pretty much had no game plan for this fight. Who knows if he even trained to the best of his ability. He pretty much went up in there and thought he was just gonna go up in there, hit Bellew with something hard, and he was just gonna fold. He was just gonna go down. His plan was to go in there, hit a world-class fighter as hard as he can, and hope that he dropped. And it didn't happen. And Bellew, he fought a little scared the first few rounds. Was patient, was backing up. He was wary of David Haye's physical strength and punching power. But Bellew did fight smart. He showed some things in there. He was slipping punches, dodging Haye's punches, was staying out of range, was making Haye reach for him, and he was countering David Haye's jab with his right hand over his jab. So he was fighting very smart, had a good game plan, took his time, and he started to become braver and braver as the rounds wore on. And Haye just wasn't impressive. I mean, maybe he had a slight lead heading into the 6th round, but he was not looking good at all. The fight was still competitive. There's still no guarantees that if Haye had not tear his Achilles, that he would have won this fight. Haye was in a real fight for the first time in years. Got some resistance, was under duress for the first time in years, and as a result, his Achilles didn't hold up. So there's lingering injuries for David Haye. There was rumors of the Achilles injuries before the fight, so it's a little ironic that he ended up tearing his Achilles. Maybe the rumors were true. There were rumors of him chilling, going out, partying, clubbing, taking flights to Germany to seek treatment. So, and Bellew was motivated. He was hungry for this fight. He asked for this fight, got the fight, and he delivered. Haye was compromised, sure, but there's only a way to settle the score once and for all. Get all these questions out of the way, and ask some questions answered. Those questions can be answered in a rematch. Did Haye lose because he was hurt? It's debatable from what I saw. I wasn't impressed with what Haye was doing the first 5 rounds. Didn't seem like he was dominating or in control of the fight. Is Haye able to turn things around in a rematch? Did Bellew just get lucky? But we're going to have to wait quite some time for Haye's return, as he's insisting he's not going to retire. it's going to be difficult for Haye just to shut it down after that humiliating defeat. I mean, this guy showed the most heart he's ever showed in his entire career, and it was simply because he simply did not want to lose to Tony Bellew. He knew how embarrassing that this defeat would have been, and he dug deep than he's ever dug before. Showed a lot of heart. Fought with a compromised Achilles. Couldn't put pressure on it. Went for the knockout as soon as he heard it. And showed more heart than he's ever showed. And it's simply because he didn't want to lose to Tony Bellew. If it was somebody else, he probably would have quit. But I got to give Haye some credit in terms of him taking the L. I mean, he was gracious in defeat. Gave Tony Bellew his credit. Didn't make any excuses of the obvious injury that he endured in the fight. Said that Bellew was the better man, and it made Haye a little more likable. I mean, he took his L like a man. Didn't bitch and complain, didn't moan about the injury. Just said that he wants a rematch, and he hopes that Tony Bellew will give it to him. The rematch makes sense. It was a compelling fight. It was unexpected what went down. Upsetting that I didn't place a wager on Tony Bellew, but it is what it is. But it's going to be hard to see if Haye can come back in that type of time frame within 6 to 9 months. That's a serious injury, especially at this stage of his career. He's 37 years old, getting up there in age, has had lingering injuries before. So it's a tough uphill battle for David Haye to come back and just go in there with a guy that trashed him on Sky Sports Box Office this past weekend. But funny ass fight, entertaining fight, another good show by Eddie Hearn. And we'll see if this rematch will occur. Bellew, he's got plenty of options. He can retire. He can fight a real heavyweight. Or he could just wait for the David Haye rematch, which is another big payday in his pocket. So, and for Haye, good luck to him. He needs to right this wrong, though. He needs to get this rematch and see if he can continue his quest to become world heavyweight champion again. But he's got a long uphill road after that embarrassing defeat. Getting trashed by a frat cruiserweight by Tony Bellew. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.